Hey Optimancers, Chris here. The new Spelljammer book was just released and it has some amazing racial options for players. 6 new racial options: the Astral Elf, the Autognome, the GIF or GIF, the Hadozi, the Plasmoid, and the Thri-Kreen. For my next 6 videos, I will be highlighting one of these races in each video. And today we are going to look at the Astral Elf. I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Mammoth Factory, who have a new Kickstarter called the Mammoth Chronicles. You can check that out. There's a link in the video description. Also, if you go down to the comments, I've pinned a link right at the very top. Now, if you back this project, you can actually back it for $1, $1, and you're going to get an adventure and a Dragon STL. And for $25, you can get all 8 of the play-tested adventures, including battle maps and the virtual tabletop tokens, everything you need to run it virtually. So there is some really attractive pricing in this project. So let's just let Mammoth Factory talk a little bit about this project.
The Mammoth Chronicles, a high-quality library of 8 expertly written 5e
So look at those miniatures
that come with 131 highly detailed, dynamic 3D printable miniatures. A year's worth of playtested
and look how good they
5e
look when they're
content
painted.
at your fingertips. These self-contained adventures come with a variety of fantasy themes, such as a radiant dragon empire, abomination werewolves, infernal blacksmiths, eldritch planeshifters, and more. Play anywhere, whether you use a hardcover book, a PDF, STL miniatures, VTT tokens, Roll20 conversions, or even paper minis.
So Mammoth Factory has been kind enough to send me some of their miniatures. I haven't had a chance to paint them, and if I get them painted, I will probably have it done by somebody else, because if I paint something, it's not going to be as good as it otherwise would be. And I just want you to see the detail here. So I'm just going to put my hand in front to help focus, and I want you to just take a look at the detail on this miniature. Like, that is beautiful. Like, that is just an amazing mini. Now, like I said, I haven't actually painted these up yet, but they already look great even before they've been painted. So like I said, check out the link in the video description or the pinned comment down below. And thanks again to Mammoth Factory for sponsoring this video. Now, I should mention that according to the Spelljammer book, when you create a character for a campaign or an adventure set in Wildspace or the Astral Sea, you can choose from any of the options that the D&D game provides, including those described in this chapter. As always, you should check with your DM before creating a character to make sure the options you prefer are available. In other words, Spelljammer is a campaign setting, so you shouldn't necessarily assume that these races are available in your non-Spelljammer game. However, check with your DM. If they don't have a problem with it, then these races will be available. Today we are going to be looking at the Astral Elf. So first I'm going to go over the race, then I'm going to give you my overall take on it. So Astral Elves are the descendants of elves who traveled from the Feywild to the Astral Plane to be closer to their gods. Because they come from the Astral Plane, where nothing ages, some Astral Elves may be very old. Essentially, they, like everything on the Astral Plane, are basically immortal while they're there. On other planes, though, they live about 750 years, making them pretty standard for an elf. So let's go over the mechanics of this race. First off, they are humanoid. They are considered elves for any prerequisite or effect that requires you to be an elf. In terms of character building, the big advantage here is the potential to access the Elven Accuracy feat. The Elven Accuracy feat is a very good feat if you are making a character that is relying on advantage to attack. Secondly, their size is medium. Their speed is a walking speed of 30 feet. They have Astral Fire. They know one of the following cantrips of their choice: Dancing Lights, Light, or Sacred Flame. And then they can choose Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma as their casting ability score, and they choose it when they select the race. And it doesn't look like you can change it later on. They will have Dark Vision, and it's the standard Dark Vision. 60 feet, they can see in dim light as if it were bright light, or darkness as if it's dim light, and they can't see colors using dark vision. Their Fey ancestry, again, this should look familiar. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charm condition on yourself. They have keen senses. Again, this is pretty standard for elves. You have proficiency in the perception skill. Then they have Starlight Step. As a bonus action, you can magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. You can use this trait a number of times, equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And then finally, Astral Trance. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. You can finish a long rest in 4 hours if you spend those hours in trance-like meditation, during which you remain conscious. Whenever you finish this trance, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice and with one weapon or tool of your choice, selected from the player's handbook. You mystically acquire these proficiencies by drawing them from your shared elven memory and the experiences of entities on the astral plane, and then you retain them until you finish your next long rest. Okay, so what do I think of this race? Well, first off, I think it's okay. I mean, Starlight Step is a really good feature. It's going to be really useful to you. They have 2 bonus skill proficiencies. That's pretty good. Then they have Dark Vision, and they get a bonus cantrip. So, I mean, overall, this race is decent. However, I do think it is by far the least unique of all the races in Spelljammer, and there's nothing here that really draws me in. I mean, when I look at Astral Elf, the very first thing I think of is the Eladrin. They are very similar to the Eladrin. Eladrin, also humanoid, also considered an elf, also medium, also has walking speed of 30 feet, also has dark vision 60 feet, also has Fey ancestry, and Fey Step is very similar to Starlight Step. In fact, Fey Step is technically better than Starlight Step because it does give you an additional bonus after you teleport. They get keen senses, just like Astral Elves, and they have Trance, which is very similar to Astral Elves. The main difference is when the Eladrin finishes their Trance, they select 2 proficiencies that are tool or weapon proficiencies. Well, the Astral Elf gets a skill proficiency and 1 tool or weapon proficiency. So if we're to compare the two, the Astral Elf essentially has 2 advantages over the Eladrin. First, they get the bonus cantrip, and second, it's probably better to get a skill proficiency and then a tool and weapon proficiency rather than 2 tool or weapon proficiencies. Essentially, the Astral Elf is getting 2 bonus proficiencies. One is perception, which you want anyway. Then Astral Trance is going to give you another skill proficiency, and that one is a floating proficiency, and you can change it to whatever you think you're going to need. But other than that, I'm not seeing much to differentiate this from other elf races. And although Starlight Step doesn't give you an additional bonus after you teleport, that doesn't change the fact that bonus action teleports are really good in D&D, especially if you don't have to use Misty Step. Because the difference between something like Starlight Step and Misty Step is that Misty Step is a spell. And there is a specific rule on spellcasting that if you cast a spell using your bonus action, which Misty Step does, then any other spell you cast on your turn can only be a cantrip. So, soon as you Misty Step, you're stuck with cantrips. But an Astral Elf can use Starlight Step, and because it's not a spell, then they can use their action to cast any spell they know. So, whether it's a leveled spell or a cantrip doesn't matter. So that's a big advantage. It's just that Starlight Step isn't unique. It is very similar to the bonus action teleport of Eladrin's or Shadow Kai, but unlike Eladrin's and Shadow Kai, it doesn't give you the additional bonus after teleporting. Now, in both those cases, I would still say the big feature is teleporting itself. So I still think Starlight Step is very strong. But we're giving up the extra feature after teleporting, and for that, we're getting a cantrip and a skill proficiency. Is that a good deal? It's not a bad deal. I mean, I would argue Shadow Kai are probably stronger than Astral Elves, but Eladrin, I don't know. It's pretty even, I would say. As far as Astral Elves and power go, I'd say they are probably in the top half of races. They're definitely doing fine, but I don't think they're overly special. And when I look at the Spelljammer races, I think they are the least interesting of all the options. If I was to make an Astral Elf PC, first things I'd be looking at are, since I qualify for Elven Accuracy, is there a way I can make a character that's going to rely on advantage that isn't using Strength for advantage? Because, of course, Elven Accuracy, you can't do attacks using Strength. And secondly, I'd probably want to be a spellcaster. And then I can use my bonus action teleport without it affecting the rest of my spellcasting on my turn. And within those two things, I have a character with a couple extra skills, that nice teleport feature, and the basic elven features. And I think it would do fine. It's not a bad race, but it just doesn't excite me like the other races in Spelljammer do. So those are the races that I'm going to be talking about over my next 5 videos. Hope you'll join me for those. Until next time, gonna sit back, relax, and have some fun. D&D's for everyone. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.